Sikhidhvaja has given up his kingdom, he's renounced everything, but he's very attached to the notion of being a renunciate. So much so he's not even aware he's got this notion. This is who he is, this is who he identifies with, being a renunciate. And we're told that one who has abandoned everything is not agitated by worry. If wind can sway the branches of a tree, it cannot be called immovable. And Sikhidhvaja has anxieties and worries. So he's not abandoned everything. Ownership is the notions that we have about who we are and about our relationship with the world around us, in terms of not just owning material possessions, but owning ideas about ourselves, ideas about our relationships with other people. These are what we truly own, in the sense that we identify strongly with them and we probably don't even question them. These are the ground which we operate from, and we're not even aware of that ground usually. We take it as said, we don't want to examine it. But this is self-inquiry. Self-inquiry means examining all these things that we identify with, all our psychological possessions. And once we start examining them, we become aware of them, and then we can abandon them. The extent to which we've got worries and anxieties is an objective measure of the fact that we haven't abandoned everything. So if we're anxious about health or wealth, about our relationships, about what people think about us, about the future, about getting old, our future possible conditions, all the rest of it, all these things are indications that we haven't really let go, that we're not really at home in the universe. Such worries or movements of thought alone are known as mind. Thought, notion, concept is another name for the same thing. When we're told to abandon thought, it doesn't mean to say we make our mind go blank. It's about abandoning our identification with our notions. These are heartfelt identifications. It's not just about rearranging our mental furniture. It's about examining our innate psychic impulses, our innate psychological impulses, our drives, our motivations, our convictions. These are what have to be examined and dismantled. If thoughts still operate, how can the mind be considered to have been renounced? Thoughts is the attractive power of notions which lead us to identify with them. When the mind is agitated by thoughts, worries, etc., the three worlds appear to it instantly. The focus is on the world. When we've got anxieties, it's not about us, it's about the world. Our identification is on the world, our attention is being taken out there into notions of what is out there rather than onto itself. As long as thoughts are still there, how can there be pure and total renunciation? Again, as long as notions are still attracting our attention, then this isn't renunciation. Hence, when such thoughts arise in your heart, your renunciation leaves your heart, like the chintamani leaving the man. Because you did not recognize the spirit of renunciation and cherish it, it left you, taking with it freedom from thoughts and worries. So he entered into renunciation, but it wasn't renunciation. It was the notions of renunciation, it was the trappings of renunciation. And this is the trouble. He was following what he thought was a spiritual teaching. And in this way he became completely unreceptive to the spiritual teaching. This is the trouble with spiritual teachings. When you pursue spiritual teachings, you really believe that you're doing something which is going to bring about a particular goal. In this very belief, you have gone in the opposite direction of your intended goal. I'm assuming here your intended goal is self-realization. If it's something like peace of mind or so on, then you might find that. But if you start following any kind of path or teaching which is going to lead you to spiritual realization, you've immediately gone in the opposite direction. When thus you were abandoned by the dual spirit of total renunciation, you picked up the glass piece, austerities and all the rest of it, other spiritual practices. You began to cherish it on account of your delusion. You have replaced the unconditioned and unattached infinite consciousness with the futile performance of austerities, which has a beginning and an end. Alas for your own sorrow! One who abandons infinite joy, which is easily attained, and engages himself in the acquisition of the impossible, is surely a pig-headed fool and suicidal. You fell into the trap of this forest life and did not strive to sustain the spirit of total renunciation. You abandoned the bondage to kingdom and all the rest of it, but you have become bound again by what is known as the ascetic life. Now you are even more worried than before by cold, heat, wind, etc., and hence more firmly bound. Foolishly thinking, I have obtained the chintamani, you have really gained not even a piece of crystal. This is the meaning of the first parable. And it's a rather scathing attack on naively following spiritual practices, whether traditional or not. It's a terrible disaster, really. You often see it actually in devotion to the guru. There may be all sorts of benefits that devotion to a guru can bring. But unless that guru is pointing you right back to yourself, unless that guru is no more than a mirror reflecting you back in yourself, then you're getting caught up in something which is anti-spiritual. Devotion to a guru, it might be wonderful in a lot of ways, but it's an obstacle to any kind of spiritual realization, because your focus is on that guru. Unless your focus is on itself, how can you get anywhere? That guru is taking your focus all the time. This so-called devotion, bhakti. It's wonderful if you want to be in love, if that's what you want. If you're looking for love, if you're wanting to be in love, if you want that trap, then you go for that. But if you're wanting to find your inner light, find your own consciousness, find the consciousness within which you exist, then these spiritual traditions are taking you far away from that. But unfortunately, I think only those of you that have realised this for yourself are going to appreciate this. Those of you that haven't realised that will have no time for my words. Such is a way of things.